This is Rhonda Brooks of Farm Journal Media, and I'm here today with Phil Needham with Needham Ag Technologies. And Phil is a wheat specialist traveling throughout the United States, working with wheat growers and on into Canada. And you've hosted our first wheat college this week, Phil. Tell us a little bit about what you've been sharing with farmers, if you would.
I work with a lot of different producers across different areas of the country, which obviously gives me some opportunities to see lots of acres and help them with some new management techniques. But here today at the Fargo Wheat College, we've had a lot of questions from a point of view of stand management. For example, when I work around Fargo, North Dakota, it's quite common up and down the Red River Valley to see fields that have got an excessive number of heads per square yard or per square foot, depending on how you quantify it. Some of those fields lodge. When we start doing head counts per square yard, we find out there's an excessive number of heads. So some fields producers are fertilizing too early with nitrogen, some fields they're seeding too thick. There'd be some contrasting situations. You get further west into North Dakota, across to Bismarck or Jamestown, for example, where some fields are not seeded thick enough. Some fields are not fertilized with nitrogen early enough, especially in no-till fields. So the resulting head densities within some of them fields are too thin. So there's a lot of little things that we can do when it comes to wheat management, revolving around the topic of seeding rates and nitrogen rates together, so we can manipulate head populations up or down with both seeding rates and nitrogen rates.
Are there some specific recommendations that you've been sharing with farmers here in the Red River Valley?
One of the most important things that we've discussed today is seeding by seeds per square yard. There's still some producers out there that seed by pounds or by bushels, and I shared with some of the growers today, it's quite common to see seed lots with 10,000 to 12,000 to 14 or 16,000 seeds per pound. So simply by seeding by number of pounds per acre can have a huge variance, perhaps of the magnitude of 1.5 or 1.6x relative to if you got a seed lot with large seeds or smaller seeds. So obviously it's very important to seed by seed population rather than pounds. Nobody would plant 30 pound of corn, for example. They'll plant by kernels, and they'll plant 28 or 32,000 kernels, and they need to do the same with wheat. They need to plant by live seeds, which is obviously adjusting for germination.
Okay, and that's true for any wheat grower across the United States, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to be planting by seeds.
Need to be planting by seeds. I know we're here in the Red River Valley, but are there some things that you're seeing, in Kansas or some of our other Midwest states where wheat is grown that you'd want to provide a message to farmers in those areas?
I'm a pretty strong advocate regarding scouting fields. There's a lot of farmers, especially across the Central Plains, for example, that are seeding wheat after wheat, and perhaps wheat after wheat isn't the best rotation to start with. If they could use a break crop, I think it would be better. But there's still many examples where growers are not using appropriate foliar fungicides. It's critically important that we use foliar fungicides if we see diseases like tan spot, like septoria, like mildew. And on some of these more advanced, denser canopies, especially wheat after wheat in a no-till environment, there's a lot of early season foliar diseases that can have an impact on the above ground portion of the crop, the root system, and the ultimate yield. So by scouting some of these fields for diseases, we can make some pretty proactive decisions. What fungicide should we use? When should we apply it? With what application technology, meaning water volumes and nozzles, for example. So farmers need to do a better job, I feel like, in general, scouting their fields. And for some that's a challenge, but a lot of times it's a local agronomist or certified crop advisor that they can use to help them with some of these decisions.